to another rero tutorial video. In the last video, I learned how the Utan functions. So in this one, we'll be entering the rero planner. So we'll be using the rero planner to program the robot. So we can incorporate the sensors to the sequence of the robot and make sure that it can interact with the surrounding. In the last video, I showed you that Utan can stand up straight, but from the side view, you can see that the arms are resting like this. It's actually in front of the robot rather than on the sides, the hands. So if you want it to push itself upright, you need to make sure that the hands move to the side of the robot first and then push. If you push it like this, the robot will topple over. I'll show you. As you can see, the arms will move to the side first, to the side, and then push. Then it won't topple over. And in this position, Utan is actually very stable. As you can see, it can shake its legs, it won't fall. It can even shake its whole body without problems. And then during this position, you can actually make it move forward, as you can push itself forward. So if you speed this process up, you can actually make Utan move forward and so on. You can also make it turn and everything. So everything about this robot revolves around the arms. So let's not talk about the arms anymore, because previously we already showed how the rero robots move around. We'll be talking about motion, different type of motions, how the robots move. So now we are going to enter the sensors. So I'm going to show you how to use the new programming software, the rero planner, to program the robot so that it can actually react to the environment, and then the motions will run based on what the robot sees or hears. Okay, so I'll start to introduce the tools and the blocks, which is a new element in the rero planner first before starting to teach you how to write a program. So remember to update the firmware of the rero controller, because you need the latest firmware to work with the latest rero animator or the rero planner, which you can download from the rero website, rero.com.my. Okay, so I'll go through the tools first. Tools on the top. So the first three is, well, it's very simple. You can open a new file or new program, open the previous one or save the current one. For export, this one I think I'll talk about it after I taught you how to write an actual program, because it's easier to understand then. Then here we have copy, cut, paste, delete. So you can copy, cut, paste or delete elements in the program and then move them around. And then this one is upload, so you can upload the program to the rero controller. So as of now, as of this version, whenever you upload the program, it will always become the 5th file in your plate. So this is file 5. So if you want to run the rero planner program, go to play on the rero controller and then select the 5th file. That's how you run the program. Okay. So as you can see, instead of something like a timeline, the rero planner has a grid or a canvas, which is a blank space. So all your programs actually go here. And then instead of using time frames, we use blocks. As you can see, there are 7 blocks here on the left. There are 7 blocks on the left. So each block has its own function, and then you need to use them together to write a whole program. So I'll go through them one by one, but I think I'll skip these 4 first, because it'll be easier to understand them. Now the first block is the start block. To use a block, you need to press on it, then drag it out onto the canvas and then release. Okay, so this is a start block. So the start block signifies the start of your rero planner program. So normally in one program, you will only use one start block. Okay. As you can see, there's an out here. So out means the output. So you connect whatever blocks comes after, you need to connect it through here, so that you will know that it will start from the start and then move on to the next program. Now I'll show you how. Here I have a motion block. Drag it out. Okay. So whenever you place a motion block, it will ask you to open a real motion file, which is files you make during teach mode or with the rero animator. So here I have the one wave and the other one is punch, which is simple programs for Utan. So I'll use the wave first. Wave, and then you can see the motion block comes out here. So the start block has one output, and then for the motion block you can see there's one in input and then one output. So press on the output in the start block, and then you can see you can drag out a dotted line and then connect it to the input by releasing. As you can see, there's an arrow. So this means that this program runs starting from the start block, and then it will move to the first motion, that is the wave. So now my rero controller is already connected to the laptop, so I'll just click upload. So wait until it releases. Then it means that the program is successfully uploaded to the rero controller. Now I'll run it on the rero robot to show you what the program will do. Okay, now that the program has been uploaded to the robot, I'll unplug the USB. So as I said before, go to play and then select power file. You can see that it's written here planner plan, so you can play it. So what it will do is it will run the wave program. You can see the robot wave. Okay. So this is a very simple program. So now I'll upgrade it with the planner. So let's go back to the laptop and then let's see what we can do. Okay, now we're back here. So we've seen how the program runs, so it's just a wave program. So all you can do here is that we cannot do it with the rero animator is I can add another motion file behind this wave motion file. So let's say I drag another motion file. This time I'll select punch. So it will run the punch program and Utan will make two punches. So previously, if you use a rero animator, you have to write the whole program all over again behind the time frames of the wave motion to achieve this. But with the rero planner, you can just add another motion file behind the previous one to make a simultaneous program. So what this will do is the program will start, Utan will wave, and then after that it will punch. So I'll upload the program now, so we'll see what it does. Okay, now I'll disconnect it again. So go to play. So I'll just show you the wave motion and then the punch motion. So the wave motion is something like this. So the wave is time, and then for the punch, do something like this. So normally, if I want to run the program simultaneously, I need to play the first one, and then when it ends, I need to click the second part and then play it again. But with the rero planner, I can do this. There's only one program. It will run wave, and then after that, it will run punch. So this is something you can do with the rero planner. You can compile different type of motion and then run it in sequence. So it actually makes things more simple. And then other than that, I'll show you how to incorporate the sensors into the programs. Okay, so now we have a complete sequence. So through the rero planner, we've learned that we can run motion files simultaneously, which is something that the rero animator can do, but it's just more troublesome. So now we are going to try something that the rero animator cannot perform. That is incorporating the sensors into the program. So you can always disrupt the flow by, let's say, you can click on the arrow and then you just press delete. And when you delete, you can see the arrow is gone. And then here also, I'll click it too. And then when you see these two squares, it means that it's selected. So just click delete. You can see now the flow is disrupted. So if I upload this program, it's just for information. If I upload this program, the program will not run anything because nothing is connected to the start block. So now I just rearrange these. Wow. Now I'm going to use the sensor blocks. So I'll use this one first. Actually, the sensor block actually function the same way, but it's just that they are incorporated with the different types of sensors. So I use the first one, the head IR sensor. I'll drag it out and place it here. So you can see it's different from the motion file. It has one input, but you can see there are two outputs. So what does this mean? I'll show you. I'll connect it to the start block first. So you can see here it writes greater than, and then here it writes less than. Because we know that when the sensor so this is the IR sensor, it's actually like the eyes of the robot on the head module. You can see how far something is. So let's say I set it to, this is just an example, let's say I'll set it to 50 cm. So if something is greater than 50 cm away from the face of the robot, it will run any program connected to greater than. So let's say I'll do it to wave. So if something is less than 50 cm, less than, it's connected to punch. So if something is less than 50 cm, it will run the punch program. So do note that it doesn't really measure in the cm, it's just an example. So I'll just call it 50 units. You can always see how many units, the real-time data collected from the head module by accessing the sensor option in the menu. There you can see the reading of the IR sensor. So right here, I just set the distance to 50. So over here, I'll set it to 50. You can see I set it to 50. So if something is 50, more than 50 units away, it will wave its hand. And then if something is less than 50 units from the face of the robot, it will punch. Okay? So this is the ID. So normally you don't have to touch this because the ID, mostly it runs the default ID. Unless you do modify the ID of the head module, then you need to make sure that you change the ID here. So by default it's 100, so you don't need to touch anything. So normally what you do is just change the distance to configure how the sequence runs. So let's upload the program and see what will happen. Okay, now it's now loading, so I'll disconnect the USB cable again. Okay, now I'll go to play, then the flip file, which is the planner, the program. Okay, so I'll play it. So right now there's nothing in front of it. So I'm talking about the IR sensor because the IR sensor are here. So if my hand is placed here, it won't actually see it. So I'm only talking about area around here. So there's nothing in front of it. Now play the program. You see that it will wave its hand. So it's the same file, but if I put my hand in front of it, I'll just put it very close to be sure. If I play it, you see that it runs the punch program. So with this, you can utilize the sensor blocks differently so that the robot can make a decision based on the situation. So let's say, for example, if there's a wall in front of it, if the IR sensor senses a wall, it will move backwards, or if it doesn't see anything, it will move forward. So you can utilize the sensor blocks like this. So I'll show you this again. There's nothing in front of it. If I play it, it will wave. If there's something in front of it, I play it, it will punch. Okay? So that's how the sensor block functions. So with the Rero planner, you can finally incorporate the sensors into your program so that your robot can decide based on the situation. Okay, so now for the last part that I'll teach you about the planner is looping. So as you can see, if you upload the program, you won't be able to select if you want the program to loop or not loop, like in the Rero planner, like in the Rero animator. That's because looping is done inside the program rather than selecting when you upload the program to the Rero controller. So if you want to loop a program, you need to do it like this. So because the program ends after the wave motion or the punch motion, because nothing comes after it. As you can see, the output is empty. So if you want it to loop after the motion, you can do it like this. So I'll click this one, move it all the way back to the front of the sensor block, and then place it here. So you can see there's an arrow pointing after the wave motion back to the front of the sensor. So this means that the program start. So if it's greater than, it will run the wave motion, and then once the wave motion is finished, it will go back to begin from the sensor part all over again. So it will keep on looping as long as it's greater than. So if I want it to loop after the punch, I can also do the same thing. So loop it all the way back to the front of the sensor. So this way, the program will loop infinitely until you turn off the program. Okay, now upload the program and we'll see how the program has changed. Okay, now plug the cable to play. So it's still the same program, no modification. So if I play, you see that the program will loop. So nothing in front of it, it will wait. After you finish, I don't have to press it again. It will loop back and then it will start waving. So actually, before it starts to wave, it will check again. So let's say after it finishes waving this time, I will block face. It will go to punch. So this is how you make a looping program. After that, I won't put it again, so it will wave. Then I'll put it in front again, it will punch. So now we've made a continuous program whereby the program keeps looping back. So this is how you make a loop program with the Rero planner. Stop. Congratulations, you just learned how to use the Rero planner to program a Rero robot. So here's a challenge for today. Try to use the Rero planner to write your own program. You can use any sensors you want. You can try the other sensors that I didn't teach. You can write other motions and then incorporate them all together and then take a video to demonstrate what your program can do. And then after that, upload your video to our Facebook page, and then the deadline is 1 week away from the day that this video is uploaded. We'll select 3 of the most creative, that is in our opinion, the most creative programs, and then we'll be giving out this Radio Shack cash voucher to the 3 winners. Now, if you're wondering what you can do with this cash voucher, you can actually buy spare parts for the rero so that you can upgrade your robots and so on. So here's actually one of the Utan robots that an engineer in Centrum Technologies built. So he actually wrote this program, and it's actually much more advanced. So I'll show you what you can do. So first of all, it's the IR sensor. You see something, you punch. Of course, other than just the IR sensor, you can incorporate more than one sensor in one program. So let's say the mic sensor, you can try it out. So this is the walking program. As you can see, it's quite different from the one I showed you just now. This is actually a new one. So see whatever inspiration you can get, and then just incorporate it into your planner, or you can write your very own. And that's all for today. Thank you.